conjoined twins can be separated.
I'm not saying that when they
Wait a minute. Do you know why they can be separated? Because they're two different bodies. They have two hearts.
There's a case of in America,
and they can live individually.
There's these two twin females. They have one body and two heads. That the other head comes here, so they cannot be separated. So I'm asking you, how many personalities and how many natures?
Okay. When you say personality,
yes.
Okay, when they have two heads,
yes.
They have two brains,
okay,
two consciousness,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Two wills,
yes.
How many beings are there?
So how many bodies?
No, answer the question. How many beings are there?
How many bodies?
When you have two different consciousness,
I'm asking you, how many bodies?
Wait a minute. You know a conjoined twin having a single body with two heads? Yes?
Yes.
It's still two persons.
Okay, and how many bodies?
Okay, so in that case it's one body.
Okay.
Okay, in the example you get, wait. But in the example that I gave of other conjoined twins, they have two bodies joined together, but they can also be separated.
The example I've given
you have given a very narrow definition of a conjoined twin.
No, I'm talking about the...
Fair enough. One body, I have no issues. Yes. But how many consciousness?
So you have one body and two personalities?
Yes. Two people?
Yes. Within one...
Two brains?
Okay.
Two wills?
Okay.
Two consciousness?
Okay.
Is that the same same for the Trinity?
So now when they want to walk, which body controls... which mind controls the walking? Like
I don't know. I haven't studied medicine that far.
Yeah. So
do you know who controls what?
So now we have a...
Who do you think controls it?
I'm asking you.
No, your question, so you should know the answer, right?
Because you're the one who has confusion.
I don't have
multiple personhoods.
No. I asked you about the being and the person.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
the reason you couldn't answer that is because you're confused. So once again, is a person a being?
If this person is one being, as in one flesh, with two heads, two distinct personalities, that means how many beings do you have?
Two beings.
But you've got one body.
Doesn't matter.
So how have you got two?
Okay. You know how you define a being?
Okay.
By one consciousness.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, if you have a single consciousness, then you are one being, one person. Okay.
So they have two consciousness.
Yeah. In that case
and the
of
Trinity
yours,
has three consciousness.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Wait. Are you sure the Trinity has three consciousness?
They can think for themselves. They can communicate with the other person within the Trinity.
So it's not one being then. It is three beings. You said three consciousness.
Yes.
Three consciousness means independence in the way they think.
In different bodies as well.
You see what I mean?
Okay.
Not the same body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
You know, earlier you said they all share the same nature. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that post-incarnation?
They share the same essence.
Okay. Are you sure about that post-incarnation?
Yes, I am.
Did Jesus not take on the human nature?
Yes, he did.
Does the Holy Spirit have the human nature?
No.
So it's different natures then?
No. Because in terms of...
That's a funny laugh with the cameraman again.
You try to teach about Christian theology to a Christian.
Why not? I've been doing it for so many years. Why not? No wonder you guys... No wonder if I ask about the Trinity, I get different answers for every person that I speak to. So they don't have...
No. So what is your concept?
So you're saying they have different natures.
Yes.
Sorry, you're not saying they have a different nature. Even though I told you, post-incarnation, Jesus has two different natures.
Yes.
The human nature and the spiritual nature or the divine nature.
Yes.
Yes? Does the Holy Spirit have the human nature?
No.
Does the Father have the human nature?
No.
So how are they having the same nature? Jesus Christ is a hypostatic union.
Yes.
The Holy Spirit is not a hypostatic union.
Yes.
The Father is not a hypostatic union.
Yes.
Do they have the same nature?
So according to the Chalcedon Creed, you have two distinct natures, fully man and fully God.
Yeah.
They do not mix, they're fully separate. But God can operate in his, Jesus can operate in his humanity. Now what you're trying to say...
How many natures at the end?
What you're trying to say is if there's a paradox, then it means it cannot exist. But this...
I never said it's a paradox. I'm saying, how many natures are there in Jesus?
Two. Fully man, fully God.
How many natures are there in the Father?
One.
How is that not a difference in nature? Two versus one.
Because
his human nature doesn't.
I didn't ask about mixing. Nothing to do with mixing.
So now
that's why he's mixing it up.
Peter, he can answer himself.
Yeah, but this is.
Can you ask him not to interrupt because none of the Muslims are interrupting?
This concept is very simple to understand, and I'm going to talk about.
Actually, you're right. It is very simple.
I'm going to talk.
I'm
about,
surprised you can't answer that.
A particle duality. This is something we understand within quantum science, that all matter has two natures. Yes, you know about the double slit experiment. So I'm just going to give, because people may not understand. So I'm going to read something, an article, And I want people
Why are you going to an analogy about
because people-
particle physics? Wait.
Because people don't understand.
But you-
if they want to understand Christian theology, I have to give them an analogy that they need to
Calm down.
understand.
No need to shout. Calm down.
Yes, simple. Can I read what I'm going to
Listen.
say?
Paper boy, listen to this.
But-
Did you not yourself say? Did you yourself not
Okay.
say that they have two natures?
Let me-
Sorry, Jesus has two natures.
Yes, and
The
I'm
Father
gonna
has
give
one
you- I'm
nature.
going to give everyone an analogy, then we can go from this analogy. So this is
Give an analogy. Can never compare to God.
no.
Doesn't matter what analogy you give.
I'll give the analogy,
Okay.
then we can discuss further
Good.
on. So this is the article. It's called Quantum. The quantum world is mind-bogglingly weird. So it says, consider photons. These are the particles that make up light and radiation. They're tiny packets of energy. Centuries ago, scientists believed that light traveled as a stream of particles, like a flow of tiny balls. Then 200 years ago, experiments demonstrated that light could travel as waves. 100 years after that, newer experiments show that light could sometimes act like waves and sometimes act like particles called photons. These findings caused a lot of confusion and arguments and headaches. Wave or particle, neither or both. Some scientists offered a compromise using the word wavicle. How scientists answer the question will depend on how they try to measure photons. It is possible to set up an experiment where photons behave like particles and others where they behave like waves, but it is impossible to measure them as waves and particles at the same time. This is one of the bizarre ideas that pops out in quantum theory. Photons don't change, so how scientists study them shouldn't matter. They shouldn't only see a particle when they look for particles, and only see waves when they look for waves. Do you really believe the moon exists only when you look at it? Einstein famously asked. This problem, it turns out, is not limited to photons. It extends to electrons and protons and other particles as small or smaller than atoms. So every elementary particle has properties like both a wave and a particle. That idea is called wave-particle duality. It is one of the biggest mysteries in the study of the smallest parts of the universe. That field is known as quantum physics. So now, this is an analogy because God, like a photon, has a dual nature. One fully man and fully God that interact in a way that is a paradox, but as we can see even from quantum physics, a paradox doesn't mean disprove itself. It just means something that scientists can observe this thing, but they may not fully comprehend how it comes into place. So that's why within Christian theology, people say, how do you have someone that is fully God and fully man?
Did I ask that question?
But
So you explained to me something I didn't ask
because
you.
you've asked
This
me,
is called a straw man.
You said that God has two natures, and I'm explaining to you the two natures.
But I didn't ask you to explain
because
the two
you
natures.
said, how many natures does God have? And I said one.
Paper boy,
You said, how
did
many
I ask you to
natures?
explain the natures? No.
It
You
doesn't
yourself.
matter. I'm giving it.
No, but you yourself
but
have.
you see.
Hold on.
okay,
You
go on.
yourself had concluded
Yes.
that the Father doesn't have two natures.
Yes.
The Spirit doesn't have two natures,
Yes.
and Jesus has two natures.
Yes.
Is two equal to one?
According to quantum physics, yes. Because a photon has a wave and so it's a localized and a non-localized property. So it has two natures within one. You have one particle, but it has two distinct
You're
natures.
doing it again. I don't think you understand the question.
Natures, that's up to four, not three.
In what sense?
If Jesus is two,
Yes.
Spirit is one, and the Father is one, that's four natures.
No, they share the same essence.
Which
That
is?
is one nature. Let's call it the divine nature. Jesus had the human nature. So you have one and one. So they both, like Jesus operated. That's the only way I can give you an analogy that you understand.
Okay, so
no.
Natures in your
So Paperboy, let me get this straight.
Yes.
So you're telling me Jesus has two natures,
Yes.
but the other two only have one nature.
According to Christian theology,
Okay, good.
yes, you're telling
So-
me something that we already know.
No, I'm asking you. I'm not
Yes.
telling you. I'm asking you.
Okay.
So you're telling me they share one nature. What is that nature they share? The divine nature.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Do they share the human nature?
No.
Good. So there is an additional nature which only applies to Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So Jesus Christ's nature consists of both human and divine.
Yes.
Is that nature, human and divine nature, different to that of the Father and the Holy Spirit?
The divine nature is the same. The human
Yes,
nature.
we have already answered that question.
Yes.
So the divine nature is shared.
Yes.
Okay? So imagine if let's label the natures as D for divine
Yes.
and H for human.
Okay.
So the nature D
Yes.
is present in all three of them.
Yes.
Okay, so we understand so far?
Yes.
Good. The nature H is only found in Jesus.
The nature H.
Yes. Which is the human nature. It's only found in Jesus. This nature is not shared by the three.
The others do not share the, because God is a spirit, so he's a divine being in himself.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit is
Yes.
the same.
Yes. We
Jesus-
dealt with the divine bit already.
Yes.
So I have no issues with that.
One H.
Okay? Remember? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like you have H2O,
Yes.
2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Over here, if you have a formula,
Yes.
it'll be D3H.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you have 3 natures,
Yes.
all of them, the DDD, that is shared. We have no issues so far because this is something that we understand clearly.